What's up, everybody? The Lakers and the Mavericks just made a big blockbuster trade that I'm sure has shocked everyone. With this move, the Mavericks acquired Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick from the Lakers. The Lakers got Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber. They're reunited with Markieff Morris. And the Utah Jazz were also involved in this trade where they got Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 second-round picks from the Lakers. This move is a head-scratcher for both teams. First, let's talk about the Lakers' perspective. I think this move for the Lakers is mostly about preparing for a post-LeBron era. LeBron is still one of the top superstars in the league, but he's also 40 years old, so he's probably going to retire within the next few years. Anthony Davis is no spring chicken himself. Yes, he's still a great player, still a top 10 level talent in the league in my opinion, but he's also 31 years old and turns 32 in March. With Luka, the Lakers get a player that is a top 5 player, been a top 5 player for at least the past few seasons, and he's only 25 years old. So he hasn't even hit his prime yet. So by making this move, the Lakers have really solidified their future. As long as they extend him, they now have their franchise cornerstone. Had they not made this trade, they were going to enter a period of dark ages once LeBron retired, where they probably were going to be bad for a while. But as soon as the LeBron era ends, now the Lakers have a superstar that they can build around for the next 10 plus years. So they really just secured their future with this move. But is trading for Luka for the Lakers just about the future, or can they actually contend with LeBron and Luka? Let's talk about it. But first, we gotta also discuss BetUS. Guys, with BetUS, you can bet on games and you could also make predictions, and if correct, you can cash out. Today, the Celtics play the 76ers, and with the Sixers being brutalized with injuries right now, I think the Celtics are going to win handily. I'm going to bet on them beating the Sixers by 14 to 16 points. And with BetUS Casino Playground, you can play their slots and feel that casino buzz with BetUS live dealer tables. If you sign up now, you can get a 200% sign-up bonus of up to $5,000 and a 250% crypto sign-up bonus of up to $5,000 as well. Now back to the Lakers. I actually think they got worse with this trade. Now, in terms of talent, they clearly got a lot better. Anthony Davis is a great player, but Luka Doncic is simply a lot better. He's top 5 in the league, but I felt that the Lakers were already trending towards contention before they made this move. The Lakers are coming off a really nice road victory over the Knicks last night. They've won 8 out of their last 10 games. Dorian Finney-Smith was starting to fit in nicely, and AD even said not that long ago that the Lakers were just 1 or 2 pieces away from legit contention. I felt that the Lakers just needed to get some more size next to Anthony Davis, another good center, and they weren't going to be favorites to win the title or anything, but they at least would have had a puncher's chance. But I think that trading for Luka sets them back, and that's mainly because the Lakers simply have just lost way too much defense here. The Lakers obviously lost a great defensive piece in Anthony Davis. AD is one of the best defensive, if not the best defensive big in the league. He's an incredible rim protector. He's a great rebounder. He is versatile, could switch and guard in multiple positions. There's so many things that he does well defensively. He's an incredible defensive anchor, and there's no other big man on the Lakers roster that comes even close to replicating that. And the Lakers were looking to add size to next to Anthony Davis to begin with. Jackson Hayes, in my opinion, is an okay 10 to 15 minutes a game backup center, but if you're asking Hayes to play starter minutes, then you're down bad. And last night's victory over the Knicks, Hayes had just 2 rebounds in 22 minutes. That tells you all you need to know about him. He's way too flawed to ask for a big role. And Christian Koloko and Christian Wood, who hasn't even played yet this season, those guys aren't starting level centers either. So now the Lakers have a big hole in their front court. I also think the Lakers now have a big hole in their backcourt with the loss of Max Christie. Christie has become an amazing role player for the Lakers, and he's been a big part of their turnaround over the past few weeks, particularly because of what he does on the defensive end. For example, in last night's victory over the Knicks, he did a great job defending Jalen Brunson, holding him to just 7 of 18 shooting, and that was no fluke performance. He's done a great job defending all-star level guards all season, and along with being an amazing on-ball defender, he can also provide 12 to 15 points a night. He's a good shooter from deep, he cuts well, he flourishes really well off the ball. He's the type of role player that every team that's trying to contend for a championship needs, so I think losing him is going to really sting. And there's nobody on the Lakers roster that can replicate what Max Christie brings. Now, they have other good defenders, but they don't have other guys that can defend at the guard spot really well, but then also not be a liability on the offensive end. Gabe Vincent is a pretty good defender, but he's been struggling with his shooting all season. Same with Jared Vanderbilt. You know, a couple years ago, he turned into a great defensive piece on that Lakers roster that got to the Western Conference Finals, but we also saw how he got played off the floor due to his inability to shoot and his inability to score. So the Lakers just got a lot worse defensively. Offensively, I think LeBron and Luka could be a great duo. They're very similar players in that they're both these big point forwards that both score and play make at an elite level, and they're going to need some time to develop their on-court chemistry. They're going to need time to figure out how they're going to divvy up the ball handling and playmaking duties, but they definitely have the potential to play off of each other extremely well. LeBron has become a pretty good shooter at this stage of his career. He cuts really well so he can play off the ball, and Luka, he's a great shooter as well. So these guys are going to need some time to figure out how to play next to each other, but I think that they could be a great fit, and I think the Lakers could be great offensively. I think the biggest issue with this team is on defense, because they lack good perimeter defenders. Now they have too many defensive liabilities. Austin Reeves already is a player that teams look to hunt on defense as much as possible. We know Luka has his defensive struggles. His defense was exposed in the finals where the Celtics went at him all the time. So now the Lakers have too many guys that struggle on defense. They don't have enough good perimeter defenders that can also shoot. And now they don't have interior defense as well. So it's very hard for me to see how the Lakers are going to be able to contend with this duo. They don't have that many trade assets left. They only have one first-round pick, and I don't think that's going to be enough to get a really good defensive big man and a good perimeter defender to try to make these pieces fit. I think this trade could go down a lot like how the Bucks trade went when they got Dame. You know, Dame and Giannis looked great on paper, but they gave up way too many defensive pieces when they gave up Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen, and that caused the Bucks defense to struggle. And that's a big reason why so far the Dame and Giannis era in Milwaukee has been mostly an underachievement. So I think that this trade made the Lakers a lot worse in the short term. It's going to be hard for me to see them contending unless Rob Pelinka has another rabbit he can pull out of his hat, but they did just secure their future in the long term. Now let's talk about the Mavericks side of this. I'm sure plenty of Mavs fans are on suicide watch right now because they just gave up a once-in-a-generation talent in Luka, a player that's a superstar, a top 5 player, a player that hasn't even hit his prime yet, and they gave him up for pennies on the dollar. And the trade is even more of a head scratcher when you consider the success that they've had with Luka over the past couple of seasons. This is a team that's fresh off of a finals run, and earlier in the season they were playing great basketball. Now I know the Mavericks are struggling right now. They only have a record of 26-23, which is just the 8th best record in the Western Conference, but they're only struggling because Luka got hurt. In the 19 games that Luka has missed due to that calf injury, they've gone 7-12. But before Luka got hurt, the Mavericks had the 2nd best record in the Western Conference. Luka was having a great season, averaging 28 points, 8 assists per game. Kyrie was playing really well. The role players around them were flourishing. The Mavericks looked like they were set to make another finals run. So it's really confusing why the Mavericks would just give up on all of that and trade Luka away. Now, according to ESPN, a big reason why the Mavericks made this trade was because they had concerns over Luka's conditioning and they were unsure about giving him a supermax extension. And it is true that Luka has had problems with conditioning. He has been known to come into training camp out of shape, overweight, and not be on top of his diets. But even in spite of that, I still find it hard to believe that that was enough of a reason to trade him. Because yeah, Luka has had problems with being in the best shape possible. He's still a great player. He still led the Mavericks to the finals. he's still one of the best playoff performers in the history of the league. And I also find it hard to believe that they were uncertain about giving him a supermax extension, considering the caliber of player he is. If you're not going to give a max extension to Luka, then who's worthy of a player of an extension that big? Now, the Mavericks GM did just release a statement about the trade. He said that, "I believe that defense wins championships. I believe that getting an all-defensive center and an all-NBA player with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance. We're built to win now and in the future." So the Lakers front office wants us to believe that they're now in a much better chance to win the championship. And I find that hard to believe. Now, once Anthony Davis returns from injury and he's able to get acquainted with Kyrie Irving, I'm sure the Mavericks will be a dangerous team. AD and Kyrie should be a great duo, and they've got some amazing role players in their deep. But Anthony Davis is a much worse player on Luka. He doesn't bring the offensive firepower that Luka can bring in terms of scoring and playmaking, especially in the playoffs. So I find it hard to believe that the Mavericks are in a better position to win the title now compared to back when Luka was healthy. I think this is one of those situations where there's much more to this trade that meets the eye. Maybe Luka, that calf injury that he dealt with is much worse than what the Mavericks are letting on. Maybe they think that his injury is so bad that he's not really worthy of getting the extension. Who knows? But with just the reasons that the Mavericks gave, it's hard to see how this trade makes sense for them. But that's going to be it for me, and now I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this trade from the Lakers' perspective, from the Mavericks' perspective? Who won? Do you think that the Mavericks can win a championship being led by Anthony Davis? Do you think the Lakers can win the championship being led by Luka and LeBron? Let me see your thoughts down below in the comment section. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to catch you guys next video.